Welcome. Welcome to Morning Minute. Silver lining, silver bullet, the coronavirus to property, to our economy. Mark, only 8 weeks ago, we came back from Thailand, our own little bubble.
Yeah, we're on a charity ride for 2 weeks in rural Thailand and had no idea what was happening in Australia, but were told we were in a bubble, and we were in a bubble.
Yeah, we're just riding away, thinking, what's this virus? I'm sure everything will be okay. And we missed a lot of that real big hype and lead up. And then probably a week after we got back, we were basically full lockdown and not knowing if the world was going to end. Basically, a lot of people had some big fears because at that stage we didn't know how fatal it was, basically.
We'll talk about one bullet disarming the whole world economy. Like, it was just to look back 8 weeks now and think that what that virus, that one strain of virus, has done to our world. It's pretty bloody incredible. And to see what it's done, particularly, the silver lining in the cloud, like we were talking about that today. What were some of those things, Michael, we spoke about this morning? Because we're going through, I personally, if I had to choose, would it be a silver bullet or a silver lining? I would say it would definitely be a silver lining.
Definitely. I think in the first month we were saying silver bullet because I know there's a lot of ways some extremists have tried to cripple economies, and the germ was the biggest bullet of all of them.
Unbelievable.
And now coming out, I think we can all agree, coming out of it, open homes are coming back, auctions. So with what the government's doing, you can make the assumption we're coming out of it. And looking back on the 8 weeks, I think there's been some beautiful things that have happened. And I think there are a lot of things that will stay with people for many, many years to come. But let's go through a couple of the little short things that, especially because we've been very fortunate to be an essential service. If you're in real estate and you weren't one of the agents to lock yourself in a home and stop working, that we've enjoyed. And traffic, the lack of traffic.
And look, we have learned. It's been a big learning. We've learned about our families, ourselves, how we've learned about hygiene. We've learned about economy. We've learned so much as individuals in the last week. We've learned how to use Zoom. We've learned how to be more efficient in holding meetings. It's incredible. But yeah, traffic's a big one. Like, that's been a big silver lining. I've normally got to spend in the car 65 minutes, and that went down to 35 minutes.
And when you do that 6 days a week, that really adds up, doesn't it? You've almost got another half-day working day, haven't you?
Massive. And also, I reckon as next 8 weeks, I'm actually not convinced traffic's going to come back to how it was before very quickly. I've got a feeling people are going to choose to opt to work from home a little bit more than they used to when everything settles down.
I agree, because I think a lot of businesses will be changing how they operate. A lot of businesses have realized they can work very remotely and they may not need the larger offices. A lot of business owners, I believe, will have a lot of trust with their staff because they've probably been more productive at home, because I know a lot of feedback is from buddies who are working from home is there's no start or finish. It's just wake up and work, because you don't have all those distractions. So I do believe that's going to have a big impact. And being on the front line of the commercial market, I'm interested to see how this will play out.
Another silver linings, pricing for property. I think that a lot of the competition has left, which has left the strong buyers and the strong prospective tenants standing in a position to negotiate easier.
Definitely. I think that's a big one as well. You always hear people talk about buying at the bottom as well. And it's almost the people talking about it are always the people who miss it. So if you look back to 2016, 17, when we were at peak, and then it plummeted 15%, and then people still didn't want to buy, and then sort of end of last year, beginning of this year, it went back up more than it went down, and then it's come back again, and then people now still like, they talk about they should have bought at the bottom. They've had the second chance. Like, you normally don't get a second chance at the bottom so quickly in a property cycle, and then people still didn't buy. So, but there's a lot of people, Mark. We've done a lot of deals in the last sort of month, and people did take the opportunity to do it, but a lot of it was by necessity. People who had sold, or they just needed to do it, and they just didn't pull it.
Everything's been by necessity. Any trigger pulled in the last 8 weeks has been done from absolute necessity. That's interesting.
Kids at home with families. A lot of families, I know a lot of relationships where people say they may only see each other for that an hour a day, where they wake up, everyone's in a rush to get out the door. Then you're at work 8 to 10 hours a week. You get home, you have dinner, you may sit for half an hour, then you're asleep. So a lot of relationships that really were only seeing each other for an hour a day, now seeing each other for 24/7. So I think relationships that's brought them closer and some further away.
Kids are too young to get it. Grandparents haven't got to enjoy it. But I think parents have looked around the dinner table or have looked around their living room and been quietly pretty proud of the time they've spent with their family and the time their family has spent with them. So I think a big silver lining, silver bullet or silver lining when it comes to family, I think silver lining for sure. And I think parents are pretty chuffed. Kids are going to enjoy this later in life. They're going to reflect back on it and say that was good. That was a quality 8 weeks.
Definitely.
I had time with my parents.
Luke just asked, bottom of the Sydney market. I reckon yes. I reckon over the next 4, I reckon there's another 2-week grace period, and then 2 weeks after that, we're going to have a quick surge with all the activity for a lot of people back into the market. I think we can see prices go from 0 to 5%. Say they've come down 10, I reckon we'll shoot 5% in a very short period of time. Then I believe we'll probably maybe plateau, and then we'll see the economic effects of this, where a lot of people come out of freeze mortgages, a lot of rent's going to be due now, mortgages due, and to see where the economy is. So I think then it's really going to plateau, or it could shoot even further. A lot of people like to buy property, and a lot of people have been sitting on their hands. Okay.
You know what? Just to answer Luke's question as well, because that's a massive question, Luke, and thanks for asking. I think in order to answer that, or in order to answer that effectively, that question,
we need a full 30 minutes.
Yeah. I think you've got to look at the learnings and how the learnings from the last 8 weeks will be applied. And allow me to give you an example. So I think we've learned that if you've got a something that's non-essential, you are just tearing it apart, ripping it off, and getting rid of it. So I think when it comes to property, essential properties that improve people's lifestyle, I think very, very important. And the focus of a quality family home to dwell in, I think, is more important than ever. So people used to use their homes like hotel rooms. And I think those types of people are saying, you know what? No, like I need more in my home. I need to sweat the asset a little bit more. So yeah, I do reckon the property market, and what was really interesting, Luke, was how the government treated the property market, or how the government valued the property market. It was at the top of mind in most of the things they did. First was medical. First was saving lives. Second was food. They handled that and how to get around shopping centres and leaving them open. Third was shelter. So I think we actually fared very, very well, given the COVID stuff, and I reckon people are going to remember that and apply that back into from their learnings into the future. So I reckon property market, I don't think it's going to rally. People are conservative. People have learnt a lot, but at the same time, I think it's actually gonna be nice and tried and strong.
Another loaded question by Michael Edwards. Lots of vacant shops in every suburb. What's your take on the commercial retail for the next 12 months? I can't see many new businesses opening. Luke says, asking the big questions. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Written. Yeah, it's big. There's going to be a big. Retail has been going through a transition for 12 to 14 months.
Maybe 12 to 14 years.
Yeah. So I think what we are seeing a lot more activity on that leasing front for people to take the opportunities now with that. But I think it's going to be slow for a couple of years to see where it comes into. I think it will determine how easy it is to access some business money. I think a lot of people have had time to brainstorm ideas over the next 2 months and think of concepts, or at least a lot of people may have been working a 40-hour job and had this vision, but because they're always bogged down with their normal 9-to-5 job, they hadn't put the time to do it. And now this has given them the time. I think there's going to be a lot of innovation over the next few months. What that means for retail market, I'm not sure, but I know in the last week we've had a lot of people, a lot more inquiries come up and saying we're brainstorming ideas with what to do with what we've just had time to do. So time's a big thing, and a lot of people have been given a lot of it. So let's see what people come out of it. I
don't think we can. With Michael, with your question there, I think that I know that a lot of businesses have done well, and it's no place or position to say who those businesses are and why they're doing well. It's just not the time. It hasn't been the first 2 weeks or 4 weeks of COVID with all the pain going on. So what I have always said is that energy transfers. Energy doesn't get burnt or buried. Energy transfers. So when that energy came out of our economy, or that due to COVID and stuff like that, when that came out of the economy, where did that energy go? It does not get burnt. It does not get buried. Now, taking that and applying that to commercial retail property, what people have to understand is there's a necessity for a box. Don't call the box commercial. Don't call the box retail. Don't call the box warehousing. Don't call the box anything. Just call it a box. So there is necessity for boxes. People need boxes. They need that. And what are they going to use them for? That's the question. Are they going to use it? Absolutely. So are they going to use boxes for retail? I reckon probably not. But what I'm interested in is what's another purpose for those boxes where they can actually morph into something else, and that's a true transfer of energy. So I think that the real question is, what the hell are we going to do with the retail boxes that are retail boxes, and what are those boxes going to turn to? The owners have options to turn them as storage, the owners residential, warehousing. There's a lot of different applications for those boxes because they do have multiple zoning. If you're a retail box, you're actually quite a flexible box. You can do anything, almost anything you want. So I'm not worried. I think the retail box is going to shit itself. And I saw some stats saying that probably 1/3 of retail is going to survive COVID. Yes. But I'm not worried for those landowners, because I know it's just an interim period until those boxes are transferred to another use and another application. My answer. Sorry.
Yes, good. And then money doesn't make the world go around. Designer clothing is pointless as nobody is really needed it. Doctors and nurses. Oh, there's a couple there, sorry. Money doesn't make the world go around, I think. And the designer clothing, I think a lot of people are looking in the mirror this time.
Silver bullet.
Silver bullet.
Silver bullet. And I think I think people really now have a different value or different set of values compared to what they had 8 weeks ago for obvious reasons.
Yep.
And is it going to be essential in moving forward? Not essential. Is it going to be? Are people going to want it? And yes, I think they still will be, but it's certainly not essential like people used to value it.
Yep.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree.
You're a designer boy.
Designer. Oh, bit of both. Then another one. Oh, this is one I really want to see. The air seems cleaner. I'm very, very interested because I don't think in anyone's lifetime, you always hear a lot about the global warming and pollution, and you always heard the people with the statement, well, if the world just stopped for a month, the Earth would last like 10 more years.
Your mate Greta,
that 10-year-old or something, like, let's just stop everything in the world. Everyone's like, mate. Yeah,
I cannot believe it has to happen.
And everyone was like, yeah, you can throw that out there, but we're never going to experience the world just stopping. Well, we basically have. So I'm actually interested that we haven't really heard anything. Well, I haven't really seen anything about the world stopped all this production for a X amount of period, and look how much better the world is and pollution. So correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone's read some articles posted in here, because I just thought all the greenies would be going up in arms going, it's proof, there's proof, look at it.
It's silver bullet or silver lining. I got to tell you, the silver lining, these sunrises that I've seen in the last month have been out of this world. I've been walking at 5 o'clock in the morning for the last 10 years. It has been out of this world how beautiful these skies are. I believe it. I believe that it's a better environment, and those skies are just incredible. Like this morning was just out of this world. So silver lining. That's a good. That's literally a silver lining.
Yes. Okay. I reckon the hygiene and health. Everyone being a lot more conscious of that. I know Lisa always joked about how she always had 1 million hand sanitizers, and 2 months ago, everyone would look at you like, really? Why? And then now they're like, yes, give me.
Do you
know
what?
Just genuine hygiene.
Silver bullet. Silver bullet. I think I love a hug. When I get drunk, I'm a very huggy person.
Yeah.
And even a bit kissy. Boys and girls, very gregarian. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, I think that's gone. I think that's going to get the bullet, dude. I think it's going to be acceptable not to shake someone.
Acceptable not to shake hand, or we'll come back really quickly to shake hands?
No, I reckon it's going to be acceptable not to shake a hand, and that was never acceptable. I reckon that's got the silver bullet.
Yeah.
I reckon, look, at the same time, I'm going back to kissing, hugging, shaking when I can.
Yes.
But if someone says, look, I prefer not to shake hands, respect. And if you said that to me 3 months ago, I'd say you're a weirdo.
A few comments. Jeff said, pick me. I think that was the reversion of the huggy and kissy. Don't get jealous, Lisa. Yes. Okay, what are some little ones? I'm pretty sure a lot of these ones I got from Michael Edwards, did a post about it previously. Fuel, affordable. I remember I filled up the other day and it was like $1.20. And the last time I remembered actually looking, it was $1.90. And I remember sending a photo in our chat. I'm like, what? When did fuel get so cheap? God, that's the silver lining, but it won't be staying once production kicks off.
Yeah, interesting. All right. So before we wrap it up, you got any other clever ones there?
No, I think it sort of covers it. I think we just really wanted to cover some pros and just little bit of the past 8 weeks, because I think in the next sort of month that Corona talk is probably going to, I don't think it's ever going to go away for a long time, but it's really going to cease. People are going to get back to it. And I'm excited for a better race. As you've said many times, Mark, we're going to be better for this.
2021.
2021.
We're a better race. And you know what? Yes, it's going to go away, but it's never going to go away. So I think that this is going to be a story I'm telling my grandkids, and our generation, and our kids are going to be telling their grandkids. This is something that will probably repeat itself in a different way or strain or whatever it is, but we will be prepared. Like, you know, maybe this has been just a big preparation for what's to come in 20 or 30 or 40 years time. Who bloody knows? But it's incredible.
Well, I think this is the war that, say, my generation didn't have it. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean there was a lot of things from my parents and my grandparents, save for a rainy day, even not wasting food, put $1 away. A lot of strong traditions which have just whittled away because they got them from war. And as the generations go down, people haven't smashed avocado. Like, I know when my nonna spending $4 for a coffee at a coffee shop is like, no, we have coffee. Essential. Don't waste your money. It's essential. Why would you do that? So I know my generation. So I think that's a very big positive that's come out of this.
That's the big one. And you know what? My dad was a World War II. He escaped in World War II. You know, I had a very old dad compared to all of my friends. So Dad always instilled in me all of those stories, and I get it more now than I ever did in my life. Going through what we went through, like all that that Dad spoke about. You know, Dad used to. It was really weird how he valued food. I've never met anyone else in my life that valued food like Dad did. Bread. You know, not to throw out bread and milk and not, you know, eating everything on your plate. And now I totally get it. And that's another silver lining, I think, of that. You know, that essential side of things, I think a lot of people are doing that. So
100%. Cool. We're joking about that the other day on our walk with my dad, just about, I ordered all these meal preps and I didn't eat any of them because I thought I'd do plant-based vegan for a bit, and I'm not a big veggie eater. And I was like, I had like 3 weeks of it because I didn't forget to cancel the resubscribe. So I had like 60 or 50 meals. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, bin. And Dad's like, no, we eat them. And I was like, do you like them? He's like, no, but we eat them, sort of thing. So I get it. I'm getting it.
It's a beautiful thing, guys. It's a beautiful thing.
But yeah, just a little one today. Well, I don't think it was that little, 8 or 9. So, but just thought it will bring it to light, and always up for recommendations of topics, and we'll speak soon.
A big one. And have a great day, guys. Enjoy this beautiful weather that we're in. I reckon it's the best time of the year, and love ya. See ya. And Michael, thank you.
No problem. Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Bye.
Jeff, boys, everyone. Cheers. Bye.